Okay, it's time to browse through the French papers with Diptyque Laurent. Diptyque, very good morning to you. Good to see you.
Hi, Michelle.
Now let's start with a new tax haven scandal. This time the Bahamas papers. Doesn't have quite the same ring to it as the Panama papers.
No,
does
it doesn't.
But anyway.
But it's still a pretty serious affair. Le Monde is reporting this on their website, along with other foreign papers who are, of course, using information taken from the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, who were also behind the Panama Papers. They're reporting a new financial scandal that's implicated many people, including Neelie Kroes. Now, she served as the antitrust commissioner, the EU antitrust commissioner, back in the early 2000s. Now, of course, while holding offshore accounts in itself is not illegal, she's found herself in trouble because she failed to disclose her previous financial and corporate interests while she was serving as commissioner. She was also forbidden by the EU Commissioner's Code of Conduct from holding any outside directorships while she was serving as commissioner. Again, both rules of which it seemed she may have flouted.
Well, this isn't good news for Jean-Claude Juncker, the president of the European Commission.
Well, for Le Monde, this new scandal will bring further embarrassment to Jean-Claude Juncker and the European Commission. The reason being that Kroes promised the then president of the EU Commission, José Manuel Barroso, that she would not return to the private sector after her term in office. Yet it's been revealed that she's now working as advisor to several international companies, including the Bank of America. And this is sure to cause embarrassment to the Commission because it comes just a few weeks after Barroso himself was named chairman of Goldman Sachs International, also, again, possibly flouting EU rules on the Code of Ethics.
Oh dear. Well, let's stay in Europe. Le Figaro is talking about the migrant crisis in Europe on its front page. Tell us more, Diptyque.
The big return of the borders, that's what it says on its front page. Le Figaro, the right-leaning paper, reports that British Prime Minister Theresa May is pretty much following in the footsteps of her predecessor David Cameron when it comes to migrant policies. She prefers to, quote-unquote, outsource the migrant issue, in this case to France, in order to prevent migrants making their way from France into the UK. We've seen this in the way that authorities are handling the partial dismantlement of the jungle migrant camp in Calais. We've also seen it this week with the construction of a new kilometer-long wall that's along the roads leading to the port in Calais. The bill for that wall will be footed by UK. It'll cost around 2.7 million euros. Now, Lobs, the website, is wondering what use this wall will have, if it's really worth the money. Migrant charities believe it's not. It's actually going to force migrants to take even more dangerous routes to get to the UK. So they don't really believe it'll have that dissuasive effect that French and UK authorities are hoping it will.
Okay, well, Nicolas Sarkozy was in Calais yesterday. Sarkozy, of course, a former French president and now running again for the presidency next year. And Libération is looking at this story this morning.
Sarkozy flexes his muscles. That's a headline from Libération, the left-leaning paper. His visit actually comes 4 days before President François Hollande is due to visit the northern city. Now, Sarkozy's team said that he went there to talk to the people of Calais and not to visit the migrant camp. But Libération says it more bluntly. He was there especially to boost his electoral campaign. Sarkozy echoed promises that he'd made earlier to re-establish border controls so that France is not, I quote, submerged by migrants.
Well, Sarkozy's critics accuse him of pandering to the far right with certain things that he's come out with. But it seems that there's a wider trend of an extremist debate, Diptyque, especially on the internet.
Call it the influence of the Fachosphere, or if you like, the fascist sphere. That's what Libération says on its front page today. Now, in particular, the debate around migrants has really lent weight to this, lent weight, first of all, to the French elections next year, but also to this rising sort of far-right hate speech that we're seeing more and more freely on the internet. Those who insist, it comes from different people, those who insist on national identity, traditional Catholics, conspiracy theorists. For Libé, these groups have invaded the internet and they're becoming more and more prominent in public debate. In its editorial, the paper evokes what it calls La France rance, a France that is outdated, expired, moldy even. Libé says this hate speech goes outside the limits of what's acceptable in Republican speech. More importantly, it's the main electoral vessel for the far-right National Front Party and its leader Marine Le Pen.
Okay, Dipti, just quickly, Le Parisien is talking about another story on its front page this morning about religion.
Le Parisien reports that 65% of workers interviewed in a survey say they've observed their colleagues engaging in some sort of religious activity in the workplace, irrespective of the religion. This could be wearing a religious item, or it could be taking time off to celebrate a religious holiday. For the most part, it's pretty non-conflictual, but there's definitely an upswing. Le Parisien reports that this is an increase from 50% last year and 44% the year before.
Okay, Dipti, thanks very much for that. Dipti Galland there with the French Press Review.